And we do want to bring in now founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer. He was also associate counsel to the president under the Bush administration. Jamil, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Natasha.
I do want to ask you first about that breaking news. The Pentagon moving a second aircraft carrier strike group to the Mediterranean Sea in order to deter Iran or Hezbollah. What is the concern here of a wider war? What is the U.S. urgently trying to avoid, especially in regards to Iran?
Well, what we don't want to see happen here is the Israelis have to fight a two-front war, Hamas in the south, Hezbollah in the north. And what we also are concerned about is the Iranians using their own forces and proxy forces to conduct attacks in the Gulf and elsewhere to distract from the war, as well as to supply Hamas and Hezbollah both with the weaponry that they already have been doing.
You know, Israel seems to be imminently preparing for this ground invasion of Gaza. What will a full-on war mean, and how long do you think that it will go on for?
Well, you know, Natasha, it seems clear that the Israelis will do what it takes to defend their territory and are going to launch a full-scale ground invasion, incursion into the Gaza Strip. They have 300,000 reservists called up now, amassing on the border. They've made clear to the Palestinians there in that part of Gaza that they should move south past the Wadi, about 1.1 million Palestinians. It's clear they're going to go in with full force. They're going to go door to door if they need to. They're going to get their hostages out, and they're going to take out Hamas leadership. You have to think about this, you know, Natasha. Think about the anger and frustration that Americans felt when 3,000 of our own died on 9/11. The Israelis have suffered somewhere between 10 and 16 9/11s on this one occasion with these terror attacks last week. So you can imagine the need to take action against Hamas, take out their leadership. It took us over a decade to get Osama bin Laden. I think they're going to move a lot quicker. They're going to take out the leadership of Hamas and rip out its infrastructure there in the Gaza Strip.
I mean, I do want to talk about a major obstacle, though, that Israel is facing in Gaza, and that is infiltrating and navigating the massive Hamas underground tunnel system. I mean, Jamil, it just sounds nightmarish to infiltrate. We're talking about 300 miles, exits hidden in between homes and in these heavily populated civilian areas, 3 levels deep in some places. And there is concern that hostages have been taken into this labyrinth. So can you explain the strategic advantages that these tunnels do give Hamas?
They're absolutely a massive advantage for them. They know the tunnels. They know where they're mapped out. They know where the hostages are being kept, and they know the likely in and out places that the Israelis are likely to come. That's going to allow them to take action directly against those Israeli forces as they come in. In a lot of ways, each entrance to those tunnels will be like a miniature D-Day for the Israelis coming in and getting hit by Hamas, knowing they're coming in. There's no doubt those entrances and exits will also be booby-trapped. So you can expect to see a significant loss of life amongst IDF forces, as well as amongst the civilian population, as the IDF takes action to get these folks out of the tunnels. Now, you know, we faced a similar situation in Tora Bora, where Osama bin Laden was hiding and ultimately escaped from. It was a very difficult environment for us to fight in as well. We had fighters who knew the territory. It's going to be very similar, and I think you'll see significant losses on both sides of this equation, unfortunately.
And if hostages have been taken into the tunnels, what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that they can be successfully recovered?
You know, it's going to be really tough because Hamas almost certainly, as they've already demonstrated, they're willing to kill 1,300 civilians. They're going to try and keep these hostages as long as they can, but they may very well take action. If they see Israeli forces getting close, they may actually kill these hostages, and they may do so in an effort to intimidate the Israeli public and the Israeli Defense Forces. And I can assure you, there is no question in my mind, the IDF will not be intimidated. They will go get every hostage. If they have to go get bodies, they will. But they're going to do everything they can to save those lives. And remember, Natasha, there are Americans that are hostages as well in those tunnels.
Talk to me more about the humanitarian situation, meanwhile, that is unfolding tonight. We know that hundreds of thousands of Gazans are being told to evacuate to the south. Meanwhile, Hamas is telling them, sometimes at gunpoint, to stay. There are people who really are trapped in the in-between. What is the latest that you are hearing, Jamil?
I mean, this is obviously a humanitarian catastrophe, and it's going to get worse by the minute. And the reality is that Hamas is completely at fault for this. They are actually telling, can you imagine, they're telling their own people to stay in the face of what they know is going to be a brutal and deadly assault. They're doing this because they want to indicate and suggest to the world that the Israeli forces are coming after civilians. But let's be clear, the people putting civilians in harm's way, just like they did on the day of the attack, now they're putting Palestinian civilians in harm's way, is Hamas. Simple and straightforward.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.